Yo, what's good? Gemstar in the building. What's good? What's good? Dropping Gems TV. What's good, everybody out there? You know what I mean? Shout out to NYC. Shout out to ATL. Shout out to everybody. You know what I mean? Beautiful sunny day out here in Atlanta, Georgia. You know. So let's jump into it. You know. I was looking at something. Shout out to my man New Breed. You know what I mean? New Breed, salute. Everybody subscribe to New Breed channel. You know what I mean? He be dropping some gems. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a spin-off on the topic with New Breed saying he be spitting some facts. I'm going to give it another point of view from Gemstar, from Dropping Gems TV's perspective. You know what I'm saying? Now the topic is, do modern women feel like they don't need us men, black men? Okay? Now, I know they feel in society that majority of modern women these days and times, they feel that black men is just a commodity. It's not really nothing that they need in life. It's just like a piece of clothing. Wear it when they want to wear it, and drop it when they want to drop it. You know? Can you fault them for thinking like that? Do you feel there's an agenda behind that? They got them to think like that? Do you feel black men are responsible for them to think that way? And it's a defense mechanism. You know? There's always two sides to a coin. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, in the way I view it, I can't fault for modern women who feel like they don't need black men in society. Look at today's men now. In this current 2021, 2022 era, look at today's black men in society. And analyze to yourself, do you feel that these women, modern women, black women in particular, is justified to think that way compared to how it was, say, in the 40s, you know what I mean, in the 50s, even up to the 70s. There's a huge difference in black men and the way they carried themselves from even the 70s down to 2022, 2021, you know what I mean? Huge difference the way we carried ourselves. Let's take a moment to think back at how it was back in the 70s. See, I wasn't living in the 70s. I was born in 78, you know what I mean? But going on with the movies, the 80s, you know what I'm saying? I was a little kid, but, you know, 90s is my era, of course. Back then, you could say, from the South, even in the northern cities, the black men back then, they carried themselves in a certain manner, in a certain way. They had a sort of self-respect for themselves. They carried themselves with a word called masculinity. They was masculine. They had morals. They had codes they went and abide by, whether it's street codes, whether it's biblical codes to guide their life. Family structure was in place. Roles were important. Positions, role playing was important. They stressed who did what, and you got judged according to the way you carried yourself. It was like a checklist. Men, they screened each other to the point where you had to be on point. To get a girl these days, and back then in those days and times, men actually competed on the way they carry themselves as a man, how they could treat that lady, what they can do to outdo that other brother to make them that chosen one. You know what I'm saying? Women have more of a quality choice of who they wanted to get with, because brothers really competed with the image, with the style, with their gentleman mentality. The chivalry was in effect. where they will open a door for a woman. They would take their coat off and place it on that mud puddle so the girl could walk across. You know, they will fight for their woman. They will defend their woman. Okay, they didn't allow their women to be looked at or viewed upon as a slut or a hoe in today's society that wasn't honored, that wasn't cherished, that was looked down upon, that was frowned upon. Okay, they took charge in the home. They was actually in the home back then. You know what I'm saying? They was in the home. What I mean is, there was a lot of deadbeats then, yeah. There was a lot of men who, of course, weren't great examples of men. Of course, you've seen a lot of domestic disputes. You've seen a lot of abuse, okay, back then. You've seen a lot of child molestation back then and rape back then. You've seen a lot of alcoholism back then. You seen when men complained about the jobs and complaining and probably trashing their house back then. But still, overall, they kept a lot of that stuff in-house. They didn't air their dirty laundry out in the street like that. Their image they try to keep to a certain standard, respectable standard to the outside community that's viewing them, because they did not want to be judged. Okay? They wanted to look like the poster child in society. Everybody who had a home, they kept their grass cut. The food was cooking in the home. The kids, the hair was done properly. The girls, they was dressed properly. They wasn't looking loose. The boys didn't come outside with their pants down and looking all like a thug. You know? That wasn't tolerated by the men, because the men would beat their ass back then. You had to pull your pants up. You had to say, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, no, ma'am. There was structure in the home. Okay? They was taught to respect authority outside the streets. Men did that. The role of a man back then, that's how they played. Okay? You know what I'm saying? The women back then waited for the men to come home. You know what I'm saying? Before anybody ate, they had their plate for the man. They had the big piece of chicken because he worked so hard while the women was home. Okay? The kids couldn't just go out, eat anywhere they want, and on their cell phones and in their rooms or whatever, and the place looking a mess and all that stuff. That wasn't tolerated. Kids eating in living rooms and they friends over. Nah, there was a curfew back then. Okay, where friends that was visiting had to go home at a certain time. Before the sun set, people had to go home before the street light came on. That's what I heard. I mean, I ain't experienced, but that's what I heard. You know what I mean? It was like Leave It to Beaver back then. Okay? They didn't compromise in their social standards. They didn't at least view it out there. They showed the men working hard out in their factories or their jobs or in the military. And then they come home, you know what I'm saying? They kept their clothes ironed, looking sharp, their hair done, their pants up, looking crisp, look like men. To the point where other women everywhere wanted them. You know? Other men looked around and showed respect. You know, the gangs back then, there was an agenda behind the gangs because there was a lot of police brutality and harassment like it is now. You know, there was a lot of racial issues where they would try to move into certain neighborhoods and try to hang people back then. So they would defend each other with the gangs. They would defend the community. Gangs was there to defend and protect the community back then. Okay, they wasn't out there harassing and beating on old people out there. They wasn't robbing their neighbors like that. They wasn't harassing people and trying to go to the corner store that's from their block or from their hood. They looked out for one another on that block. They protected the block. They protected the hood from outsiders to try to come through and raid and do whatever they want. That's the whole point of having gangs back then. When there were gangs, the men had they had structure. There wasn't all the snitching carrying around and all this drugs. It wasn't like that back then with the gangs. They didn't tolerate all that stuff in their community back then. They kept the community on point. They went against the police. They went and told Little Johnny to go inside and the police was harassing them and they handled whatever they had to with the cops. If something's about to go down on the street and about to fight, they'll tell Little Johnny to go inside, go home, because they don't want them getting caught out there by what's about to go down as far as shooting. Men were men back then. And because of that alpha mentality and that moral character that they had, they commanded respect. They didn't have to fight for respect. The women automatically, quote unquote, submitted and was willing to be their lady for them because they see what they was dealing with. They see the protector, okay? They see the person that's responsible in the home, discipline, teaching the young boys right from wrong, teaching young boys a craft. The men back then was teaching the boys how to work on a car. The men back then was teaching the young boys how to build a house, how to repair your house, roof it. They wasn't out there paying money to these contractors and all that stuff. The men back home was doing that stuff, doing the repairs. The men at home was up there cutting their grass if they had grass, repairing and fixing all the things that if the roof was leaking or a pipe needed to be replaced or the toilet needed to be replaced or something had to get done. The men in the home did that. The women have to go look out through the community asking for help and paying for help or got to subject themselves sexually just to get the help because they ain't have the money. Okay? Men were men. That's the difference between the men and the male. Okay? A male is just a person that has an organ that men have related, a sexual organ that's called a penis. That's what makes him a male, but his character doesn't make him a man. He can still be a boy in his mentality, but his character is not a man. It's a difference. Okay? Males, they carry themselves like could be very immature, like a boy. Don't know how to be responsible. Don't know how to protect their girl they want. Still want to play around, play in the streets, play games with these girls' hearts. Okay? Not want to take care of the responsibilities when it comes down to pregnancy. That's what a boy do. Okay? That's the difference between a boy and a man. There's a lack of good men in society. Finding a good man in society is like finding the most biggest diamond, that out there in the street. You can't find it. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like a myth to find a real good man. And because of that, so many women compromised. What happened to the male or the alpha male through time? Well, in my opinion, according to a lot of statistics and stereotypes, I notice, in my opinion, in the Leave It to Beaver world, okay, a lot of the white men did not really have respect for their white wives. It was a power struggle that was going on. Who ran what? You couldn't tell, a white man back then couldn't really tell a white woman what to do or control a white woman. It was a power struggle back then. Okay? There was a lot of jealousy and animosity back then with the white women because the white toward the black women, which were the nannies, okay, that was raising their kids. There was a lot of jealousy. The white men was lusting off of the black women. Because of that caused the jealousy. So because of that built up strife, anger, resentment, animosity, because you up here sneaking around and you lusting off of the nanny. You lusting off of the slave. Take it back to slave days, slavery. You see the white men running to these chicken coops or whatever, raping our women. Raping the black women. Since they brought them over, since the slave ships. They was lusting off of our women because of our physical features. Their lips, their huge breasts, their hips, their ass is so beautiful, the thick thighs. It was like no other. They marveled over it. They used them as showpieces. That's how strip clubs is developed, because they kept exploiting our black women to their friends. Orgies, rape, running trains on them, forcing all kinds of stuff because they lust off our women's physical stamina or physical DNA, whatever, makeup. You know what I'm saying? That their vaginas are so good, they don't want their wives. They didn't want their white women. And because of that, it caused a psychological bitterness, a jealousy, and an envy between the white women and the black women. The black women had no choice. They didn't want them. They didn't want their husbands. They didn't want their white men. They missed their own family. Their families were stripped. They had to do. They was forced. They was raped. They had to listen and comply and act like they was interested for survival because they wanted their men. They wanted the husbands in their home. They were back home. Their homes was stripped away. Their kids was taken away. That type of trauma, the white women will never understand that the black women had to go through. But the jealousy that caused an hatred and rage toward the black women because their husbands was running to the black women. Okay? I don't think anybody explained it the way I'm giving it to you. This is a bootleg channel, whatever. I don't think nobody broke it down to you like this. That's why you see a lot of white women, even though it's another story for another day, you know, getting their lips bigger through surgery. Getting their hips done, getting their boob jobs, getting their butts bigger through surgery. Trying to look like, getting the tanning salons, trying to look like the black woman, trying to get the attention of the white husbands back. But the hatred toward the white men or the white husbands from the white women is almost unforgivable. You ain't gonna tell a white woman what to do, what can't do. There's a lot of animosity there. Okay? A lot of unsettled things. That's why you see a lot of domestic disputes between a white woman and a white man. Going deep. A lot of abuse, a lot of fights. Like the Irish, always getting drunk, beating on their women, black eyes on this stuff. You know, wondering why the black men and all that stuff at that time up in New York and different ones back in the slave era and all that stuff they was getting a lot of jobs and they feel like they're light skinned, they're obligated, they're supposed to get those jobs, they're supposed to be privileged because they were the orphans and they were the ones up there fighting from that famine, from the potato famine that was going on back then. So it came over here to the States, trying to get their careers and all that stuff through Ellis Island going. You know what I'm saying? So they was getting the low budget jobs and the jobs that nobody wanted out there in New York in different areas and forming these gangs just to get some sort of existence. Against that's a whole different story. Against the black, I'm going off topic, I know. Against the black people just to fight for equality, but they also had the black nanny working in the homes. They also was lusting off of the black woman, the nanny, cleaning up, taking care of the kids and all this stuff. Okay? So, when that happened, you know what I mean? The vagina was too good for the white man that they wanted the black woman for themselves. They wanted to be their financial daddy. They wanted to rule out the black alpha man since slavery. Jealousy. They're having work in the fields and doing whatever, they sleeping around their wives. Force them to stand out in front of them and have sex and do whatever. And have a field day with their wives and their daughters. While they watched the power struggle as if I'm better than you. I'm better than you. The black man who was held captive. He was a slave. He couldn't do what he wanted to do. He was outgunned. He had to sit there and take it. But they was intimidated of the black man's strength. They was intimidated of the black man's power. The black man looked at the white man the wrong way because he was so intimidated with his ice grills, with his looks, that he looked with the power that's in that black man. It's like King Kong. That movie King Kong. It's like Jack Johnson. Where all the white women crave to because they see that power. They see that masculinity. They see the black man's tool going deep. That the white woman wanted that for themselves too. So intimidating, the white man had to try to find ways to try to instill fear in them. Killing them all, whip them, do everything like that. Get him out of my sight so I can have his wife. You know what I'm saying? And you see that all through corporate society. That's how welfare is a spiritual slave master. Section 8 welfare is the spiritual slave master. Say, if slavery died, if slavery was a person, and slavery died, and then that spirit came out of him, that still exists, and floating around, waiting to get judged, that spirit that was in him is welfare. Section 8, that same mentality the slave master had to keep control over over the black woman. I don't want that man around. I'm going to take care of you. I'll be your daddy. I'll take care of you. Just give me some of that ass. Keep him out of here. I got you and the kids. I don't got no respect at home with my wifey, the white woman. But I wanted you the whole time. So I'm going to take care of you. I got you. Black women don't want her. You ain't paying me enough. I'd rather him. What? F him. F your husband. That's what Section 8 would say. That's what that slave master would say. I'll kill him. So what they do? They physically kill the black male, the alpha male. They killed the masculinity of the black alpha male. Put them front line in the wars. Vietnam, all the wars. Civil War, all the wars. Front line. Korea War, World War II, all of that stuff. Don't give him a job. Make him a bum so he can't compare with me. Make him look like, have the image that, why would you want him? He can't do nothing for you. He can't provide for you. Lock him up for any little thing. He's in cages. He's in prison for the rest of his life. Kill him. Put the guns in the neighborhoods. Shoot them down. I can't kill them all. Put the guns in the trains and let them take the guns with the freight trains, or have little gun dealers come in the neighborhood and sell the guns to the kids so they can kill off the youth, so I can have the women to myself. That mentality. So now I got no choice but to look at me, the white man. Why would you still want him? Who cares about his swagger? Who cares about his strength? He can't do nothing for you or lock him down. He's in a cage. I got him on drugs. He's doped up. He can't do nothing for you. Why you want him for? Yeah, but your dick too small. That's what she's saying. You can't please me. You're not paying me enough. Oh yeah? Now they're going to try to find ways to make it really look like I'll give you a raise on your job. How about that? I'll make you my personal secretary. How about that? Okay? I'll give you your calls and all that stuff. Just stay with me. How about that? So the women, all the way down to modern day society, looking at it like that. Well, I love my man, but he can't do nothing for me. I love my man, but he's always in jail. He's locked up. That dude, that white man got him locked up. He's not letting him out because he want me. I want to raise my family, but he's going to kill my sons. I got no choice but to have sex with him. I got no choice. I'm hungry. I got to have sex with him to eat. This little food rations ain't enough. That Section 8 ain't enough. That welfare ain't enough. So yeah, he's giving me raises now in the job. He's making me an exec in the job. He's making me the headliner for Fox 5 now and CNN now. He's making me the head anchor woman now over there to go against the black nation. He's putting me ahead of Antifa now and Black Lives Matter now. As long as I don't support the black family, it's just a front. I got no choice, but he's paying the bills. What can I do? I mean, he's trying to get a little more swagger now. He's trying to listen to hip hop and R&B. He did bring out Eminem in hip hop now. He is Robin Thicke now in R&B, or Justin Timberlake now in R&B. He's trying to dance. He's trying to make his moves and everything like that, but he's just not. He just don't got it. He's still corny. But he's giving me a mansion out here in Beverly Hills. I got a chance to move downtown to Manhattan now. I can live in Tribeca now. I could go to Saint-Tropez, France. He's taking me to trips over there. I'm going to trips to Dubai through this man. See, the black woman became more materialistic because that white man was putting her more and more in power. As long as you keep that black man out of your life, I'm going to dope this black man up with all the drugs and cocaine and heroin through all the years. I'm going to lock his kids up, make them look like they all part of gangs, they BD, they GDs, they wolves, they chose. They blood, they crib. You know what I'm saying? Look, you don't want them. You don't want them. Look, he's a liability to your career. You mess around with them, they're going to ruin your career. Stay away from them. I know that's your people, that's your sons, I know that's your cousins. Look, he's not a good asset in your company. Look, his parents decide he's ignorant, he can't talk. Why? Because you kept them out of schools. You didn't give them a proper education, the white man. You kept them from competing properly and fairly with other nations by taking out the books and keeping the tablets to give fair, equal learning. You're not giving the right funding in the black neighborhoods for the schools. You keep them segregated to keep them in the black, poor, impoverished neighborhoods unless you're middle class where you can afford with your taxes. But if you can't afford, I'm going to redline you. That way you can't get those type of jobs to keep you down and under. I'm going to keep you all the police in your neighborhoods to harass and throw dope on you and trap you, set you up, give you a charge where you got a cop and plea just to get out. You got a cop to an offense now. You got a cop a charge just to get out because you ain't got no money for a lawyer. You see the redlining? You see the entrapments? And now they start to be slaves again. Now they're making the black woman have no choice but to say, I don't need you. Black man, you can't do nothing for my career. Black man, you can't do nothing for society. Black man, if I marry you and I can't take you as a chaperone in public because they're going to look down on me. I'd rather go out with my friends than to show you because I can't get in these social elite circles if I have you on my shoulder. I got to have you play the background. Like Nicki Minaj and her husband. Or like Remy Ma and Papoose. I got to keep you in the background. Because this white man is my boss. This white man is paying me and he wants me and he don't like you. He's taking care of the kids. You can't even get a job in Walmart. Well, that's what you can get is a job in Walmart, but you can't take care of the mortgage. He's paying my mortgage. My mortgage is $5,000, $6,000 a month and more. You got to answer to your parole officer. You can't get the type of job I could get. You depended on me. So, no, I don't want your number. No, I don't want to give you none of my time. No, you a scrub to me. I gotta take care of you. Yeah, the dick is good. That's the only way I could be with you. That's how the modern women think. But I'm not gonna be with you. I got choices to be with whoever I want. Why would I want to be with you? Can you pay my bills? Are you gonna watch my kids? Are you gonna keep my house clean? Are you gonna give me that good drugs that I need? My coke or my pills or whatever it is, so me and my friends can have a good time? Do you got any kind of connects? Are you connected in the industry where I could go to these BET Awards, or I could go to South by Southwest, or I could go to the wherever and get in these backstage parties? If you can't do none of that, why would I need you? I don't need you. That's the mentality of these modern women because they've been indoctrinated. They've been indoctrinated by the white man back to slavery. White man kept the black man out of the good jobs. Like they destroyed a lot of these independently prosperous black communities like Harlem, Tulsa, all of these different things. When you heard about Black Wall Street, what happened to these neighborhoods? You don't see them like that. Why is only a select few that's on the rich and upscale that's black? And when they are up there, they sellouts, puppets, the spook that hung by the door or sat by the door. That's what it is, spook that sat by the door, right? They gotta be sellouts. They gotta bleach their skin just to get accepted, just to get in the circles. They gotta sell their people out on Fox 5 and CNN. They can't be pro-black if you want to be prosperous in society. In the mainstream media, you gotta be a straight Uncle Tom. Be a pet to them. Like 12 Years a Slave, Samuel Jackson. You get it? So you don't look good in the market, in the dating field. You don't look good. And that's why a lot of these black women think the way they think. Black men, we got to stand up and start seeing the game. Wake up, get off these drugs, stop selling these drugs, get your education, and start putting your foot down in your neighborhood. Okay? Change up the way you being profiled. Start being more smart the way you move, and stop being on Front Street all the time, playing a corner, exposing yourself on the internet, Instagram and Facebook, showing everything you got in your pocket, doing all illegal activities, knowing you got 2 strikes against you. Start moving on the low and get yourself legit with licenses and degrees and get your career going and start taking care of your kids. That way you can look like something and represent yourself well with your manners. Represent yourself well, that way you won't be an embarrassment in the corporate world, in the media world. Talk like you have intelligence. That way you could be an example and an asset for these black modern women. You be like that, they will flock to you. You don't have to demand respect. You don't got to beat it out of them. You don't got to extort them. You don't got to drug them up. You don't got to do nothing. You demand respect, and they will want you. You don't got to complain about it. Stop laying around being all lazy, depending on their money when you get your ass up and get a job. Pay your bills and stop asking them for money to pay your bills. Clean up in your stinking funky house. Wash your dishes. Wash your drawers. Clean up in there and stop smelling like funky weed. Driving around all high, smelling up the neighborhood everywhere you go. No one want to smell you passing by without weed. I shouldn't have to smell you halfway down the block. I shouldn't have to listen to what you playing in your car. That's a turn off to any woman. I should have to see you with your pants sagged, getting out the car, trying to holler at young little girls. And you daggone 40 years old, you trying to holler at 20-year-olds. You trying to holler at daggone 18-year-olds. Because you can't get a girl your age because you are a scrub to them. Your little pieces of money that you got ain't no real money. You got no 401k. You got no medical. You ain't got no insurance. You ain't got nothing, but you're going to be dependent on them and try to find ways to get them pregnant so you can stay in their life. Just like you immigrants. Doing the same thing. Caribbeans, all of them doing the same thing, trying to take advantage of our black women. Even the Africans are doing that. Make yourself look like something. Have a house in your own name and stop renting. How about that? Have a business in your own name and stop trying to get businesses through PPP scams. Lying to the government. Start living by your truth. Stop deceiving these women by giving false names and you married and you fronting like you ain't married. You up in the club, mess around with this girl, and you like over 45 years old. You ain't settled down yet. You ain't got no kids yet. You look like a scrub. If you got kids, you're not taking care of your kids. They don't live with you. They don't got no respect for you. You look like a scrub. You trying to indoctrinate these women by the bullshit, conscious stuff that you believe in. They trying to hear all that stuff, and you got all this gold in your mouth and hanging and playing the corner, giving out pamphlets, talking about the white man this, white man that, and act like you so intelligent and so smart, and you still trying to rap at 40-something years old. Still trying to get a record deal, selling CDs, and we're not even in the CD world no more. You look like a fool. Eating the girls food from WIC from her baby, okay? Using her EBT card because you laying around because you too lazy to get a job or you got fellas. Man, you look like a goofy. You look like a real goofy. And you wonder why they're not picking you. You just like another little brother in the house, waiting on mom to get home. You're not even showing any kind of real example in the home. You playing video games with the kids, or you taking care of somebody else's kids and neglecting your kids. You gotta have the system force you to pay child support. No one should care, but you want them to stay to lay up with your funky ass. Get your shit together, black men, and start worrying about these modern day women, okay? And learn to be faithful when you get a girl. Learn how to be loyal. It goes for me too. Learn to be loyal, you know what I mean? Learn to be loyal. Facts. It'll give you a little, it'll take you somewhere. Learn to be a father to your child. That means go to the schools. See what the kids are doing in schools with their learning. Stop just sitting home playing video games with them, thinking you're doing the most because you clean the dish or you cook. Nah, get involved with their education. Okay? See what they're looking at online. See what they're getting involved with. Is gang activity to girls and intercept that situation. Be an example that way these kids don't have to turn to the streets. Give them some money and take them shopping. Tell these little girls that they are princesses and they don't need no nigga on the street. Give them money and show them what a real man is supposed to look like and be. And stop trying to have sex with these little girls, little daughters, molesting them, raping these little kids. Earn your respect back, earn your trust back, then maybe you can get your girl back. Easy.